We're going to look over the first table. This is a review from yesterday. Remember, when we had ax squared plus bx plus c, we added to get b, multiplied to get c. So x squared plus 11x plus 30. Add to get b, multiply to get c. So that's yesterday, right? So to continue to break this rust off, so I need to factor next. How do I get an x squared? X times x. I need to add to get this, but multiply to get this.
6 and 5.
10 and 3. So, again, this is what we did yesterday. And here's why we want this skill. Y-intercept, x-intercept's done. Do you guys remember guessing and checking from this? Not super fun. Okay. So, I add to get my b term. So, what's my b term going to be? Negative 9x. I'm going to multiply to get my c term, plus 18. Y-intercept, x-intercepts, right? Okay, last one. So this is the quick review from yesterday. I need to add to get negative 11, multiply to get 18. I'm looking at a negative 9 and a negative 2. Everybody see? Adds to be negative 11, multiplies to be 18. Okay. So down here, this is where things are going to get a little different from yesterday, but not actually different if you focus on big ideas. The b term is add, the c term is multiply. So, if the b term's add, what's my b term?
9.
Yeah, 9x. My c term is multiply, minus 36. All right, so here's where the little challenge comes then. We're undoing that now. How am I getting x squared? X times x. Okay, here's the next question. How do I multiply to get a negative? That's what I'm leaving you with. You need to finish that one up. So Ben, what numbers you thinking add to be negative 9? 12 and negative 3. Which one has to be, the 3 needs to be negative, you think?
Yeah.
Okay, let's check it out. So that does give me negative 36. Ben, what does that give me when I add them, though?
Oh, it's not negative.
That gives us 9. What do I need it to be? Okay. Yeah, that's a great mistake. It's got to be negative 12. Because when they add, it has to be negative 9. I want you and your partners to work through the next two. So we'll do the next one. Give you a shot to fix the last one if you need to. I like to set up right here. I know I need x squared is x times x. I also know if I multiply to get a negative, I need one of each. That's the only way to get a negative. Then, which one needs to be bigger, the negative or positive?
Positive.
Well, look, when I add, look what it is. Negative. So the negative has to be bigger. So what factors do I need to add to get to negative 35?
1 and negative 36.
And the 1 has to be positive, and the 36 has to be negative to make the sum be negative. Okay? So check it out. Does it multiply to be negative 36? Check. Does it add to be negative 35? Check. So if you mess up, just make sure. Okay? Let's set up the last one, but I'm not going to finish the last one. How do I get x squared? X times x. I need to multiply to get a negative, so I know I need one of each. So then what we're thinking is what adds to get to 35? I'm going to give you 30 seconds. All right. Who's got the factors for me that add to be 35, multiply to be negative 36? Greta. Yep, there it is. Positive 36 and negative 1. And don't get caught in the weeds of what we're doing. Here's why we're doing this. I can just look at both of these now and see my y-intercept of negative 36, an x-intercept of 1, and an x-intercept of negative 36 just looking at it. We've got all the intercepts. And is this better or worse than guessing and checking, do you think? Better, especially with a little practice. I can just look at these and rattle them off. You might be a little slower, but because it's new, but it's still faster than guessing and checking. Okay, You're going to need to really pay attention here to know what to do. We're going to do 4 of these, and you'll see why. So we're starting with this function. This standard form function is just saying that my numbers are going to what to equal 100? Multiply. And there's going to be a lot of different things that b could be depending on what I'm multiplying to be 100. So this is saying when I add them together, I want my b value to be positive. Okay? So if I'm going to add them together and multiply to get to 100, what needs to be true about both my factors? They both have to be positive. The product needs to equal 100. Okay? Right here, the product. Yeah, but not if b is going to be positive. If b is going to be positive, they have to both be positive in this case to have positive 100. Okay, so what's the easiest, or I don't know if easy is the right word, the lowest factor of 100 we can use? 1. And the second factor would have to be for that with the pair, 100. Would you guys agree? 1 times 100 gives me 100. And my b value is positive. What is my b value then? 101. 100 plus 1. Okay. So next number up from 1. What? 2 works. 2 and 50. Multiplies to be 100. The b value would be 52. Okay, finish that one up, y'all. Okay. 1, 2, what's my next factor? After 2, what's 4? Yeah, 4 times 25. The sum is 29. What's the next factor of 100? 5 and 20. The sum would be 25. Last factor. 10 and 10. That's 20. I don't know why I wrote 100. So all these pairs multiply to be 100, add to be something else for b. Okay, now I want a negative value of b, but I need my c term to still be 100. What that means is it has to multiply to be positive, add to be negative. How am I going to do that? Negative. So I'll give you the tough one. There's the first one. Let's go. Okay, so there's that whole thing. Again, all these values of my factors multiply to be positive 100, but add to be a negative b value. So this is a summary of yesterday. Yesterday we had like x plus something times x plus something, or x minus something times x minus something. This is what we did yesterday. So guess what kind of tables we go look at next? If this was yesterday, and I'm going to give you more tables, what do you think these ones might be about? Multiplying to be negative, which requires 1 of each. Okay, so check this one out. We're going to multiply to get a negative. But the first one says we need this to be positive. So add to be positive, multiply to be negative, which means we need 1 of each, right? So I'm going to go back to 1 and 100. But I need them to multiply to be negative and add to be positive. So which one needs to be negative? Negative 1. Let's double check it. Does this multiply to be negative 100? And it adds to be positive 99. I want you to fill out that table, please. I need these to add to be positive, multiply to be negative. So I'm looking at negative 2 and 50. Would those add to be 48? I'm looking at negative 4 and 25. That makes 21. Looking at negative 5 and 20, which is 15. And negative 10, nope, that doesn't work. That'd be 0. So the 10s don't work. Okay, next up. These next ones have to add to be negative. So I'm going to look at a 1 and a negative 100. And I'm going to let you finish that up. All right, let's finish this table up. I got 2 and a negative 50. I've got a 4 and a negative 25. And a 5 and a negative 20. So notice, these all still get the negative 100 as a product. But when we add, we get a negative because the negative is the larger of the two factors. Okay, how do we get zeros? 10 and negative 10. Yep. And negative 10, 10, whatever.
That's it.
That's the only way to get 0, because they add to be 0, but multiply to be negative 100.
Yeah, for real.
Okay, here's why we looked this over. In a moment here, we're going to look at factors of things and try to factor. And it can be plus plus, minus minus, or one of each. And we have to look at our standard form and try to undo it knowing that it can be plus plus, minus minus, or one of each. So, we already did that. You're going to write each one of these in factored form. So, to get you set up, I like to do something like this. I like making all these. I mean, this isn't the thing you have to do. And I like to write, I know I'm going to do x times x. I was thinking about DMX song, like X going to give it to you. What I'm doing there. Anybody know that one? Okay. So, then, you need to work on filling in your pluses and minuses. Remember, you're multiplying to get C, adding to get B. Multiply to get C, add to get B. I'll write that down here again if you don't. Multiply, add. You need to figure out the pairs needed for factored form. And you want to get good at this because the only other way to find zeros from standard form with your current skill set is guess and check. If you can factor these, we can look at them and know the x-intercepts. Let's go. Okay. I'm just going to give you the first one. If it's going to equal a positive 100, but add to be negative, I only have two options, plus plus or minus minus. Which one does it have to be? It has to be minus minus because it multiplies to be positive, adds to be negative. The only way to get positive is positive times positive or negative times negative. So with that in mind, what two negatives as factors add to be 25? The answer is negative 20 and negative 5. This has to be the answer for A. It's the only one. Again, it's the factors that add to be negative 25, multiply to be positive 100. For the next three, they multiply to be negative 100. So what must be true about your pluses and minuses?
Minus that way.
Yeah, Ben, we need one of each for the rest because that's the only way you get negative 100. All right, get after it. So for B, it needs to add to be 15. Knowing that we have one of each, what adds to be 15 then? 20 and 5, okay? Now, but which one? 20 and 5. Now, which one has to be positive though? 20 or 5? 20 has to because when they add, it has to be positive 15. So it has to be positive 20, negative 5. Okay, C. I'm ready to go on C. 20 and 5 is still what's up, but which one has to be bigger, the 20 or the 5?
The 20.
Well, I should restate that. Which one has to be negative, the 20 or the 5? The 20 has to be. Because when I add those, Liam, I need negative 15.
What if I flipped it?
What do you mean? The 5's negative?
Yeah.
That's wrong then.
It's plus 20.
Plus 20 doesn't work for C. It works for B. Because it has to add for C to be negative 15. Okay, last one, D. I need 100 and a 1. Everybody see it needs to be 100 and a 1? Okay, which one has to be positive? Which one has to be positive, 100 or 1? The 100 has to. Because when I add them, it needs to equal positive 99. All right?
Yeah.
Well, Ben, do you see why I hate the positive one has to be bigger? Because when they add, it's positive. When they add, it's negative. When they add, it's positive. So you gotta think about who wins when they get added. All right. You go to show me the summary to get your homework.